I'm the executive director here at the Quattrone Center for the Fair Administration of Justice at Penn Law. And on behalf of my colleagues and faculty here at Penn Law, Dean Ted Ruger, who will be joining us tomorrow, the Quattrone Center's affiliated faculty and advisory board, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you here, to welcome all of our fantastic speakers and moderators here to talk about technology in criminal justice reform, our third annual spring symposium. The Quattrone Center was created in the fall of 2013 to be a national leader in the prevention of errors through an innovative and data-driven interdisciplinary systems approach to criminal justice reform through research and policy activities in collaboration with criminal justice professionals. So basically what we do is, rather than looking at criminal justice in the historical legal way of case by case, we take a higher level view of the system as a system, and we examine the way different participants in the system interact with each other. We collaborate with those professionals to create and analyze data sets that will allow us to propose useful reforms to make the system work as intended and eliminate errors in criminal justice, and then further collaborate with those professionals to implement and evaluate those reforms, creating a feedback loop that will improve the criminal justice system structurally over time. Now, today's symposium is called Technology in Criminal Justice Reform, and when we talk about criminal justice reform, I think that it might be worth a minute talking about both technology and reform. And reform literally is reforming. We want to change the criminal justice system. We want to improve its quality. And so last year when we had our symposium, we talked about definitions of quality in criminal justice. And I think some of the concepts from that are going to be important here today, because really when we talk about technology and criminal justice reform, the question is, how can the technologies that we're developing today interact with the criminal justice system and professionals in ways that will improve its administration and make sure that we're managing and minimizing any unintended consequences? So, let's see if we're going to figure out how to make this work. So the graph behind me is a chart from ISO 9000, which is the global international standard for quality management. And this outlines in a single picture the features of a high-quality system in any industry. And what you see are three important components. On the left, the requirements, the specifications. What do we want the criminal justice system to do? The criminal justice system has purposes, and we would argue here at the Quattrone Center that the purposes from the commission of a crime through to the adjudication of a conviction or innocence, the purpose of that is to get the right guy in the right way. In other words, we should hold perpetrators of crime accountable for their actions. We should not hold innocent people accountable for those actions. And we should do these investigations and adjudications in ways that preserve our constitutional freedoms. The criminal justice system at writ large probably has a larger purpose. First, to define what activities we believe to be criminal, and then to manage that in the right guy, right way fashion. And finally, to design accountability mechanisms that are actually useful in reducing crime over time. And so we have the set of requirements that operate both for the system at large and for each participant in the system: law enforcement, prosecutors, defense attorneys, judges, juries, communities. On the right side, we then have the question of, is the system being accepted by the people who use it? Are the people who come into contact with the system satisfied that the system is working properly? Those of us who are interested in criminal justice reform are trying to answer this question and understand what the modified requirements are of the people using the system as they use them. That then leads to a feedback loop, which is the circle represented in the center. And historically, criminal justice has been pretty lousy with feedback loops. The feedback loops are long and delayed. Often the data doesn't exist for us to make thoughtful comments, and thus the commentary between the people providing feedback and the agencies themselves is lost in translation. And it's conversations like the ones we'll have here today that are actually the motivators and drivers of those feedback loops to create a high-functioning system where we have constant improvement from the requirements and specifications of the system to the impact of that system on the people who are using it. Ultimately, technology is simply a set of tools used to advance the purposes of the criminal justice system. And so the question is, to what extent are these technologies advancing criminal justice reform and improving the system? We're going to be talking about a wide variety of technologies over the course of the next couple of days. And all of these technologies have the opportunity to improve our ability to understand the system and to make it more complex And as any system of interlocking personnel and dynamic change, when you throw a rock into a pond, there's a ripple effect. When you make a change with technology, there are going to be impacts that stretch far and wide beyond what you're doing, and you have to be aware of unintended consequences. So for example, we'll talk about camera technology today. And camera technology, I think, has dynamically changed the interactions between citizens and professionals in the criminal justice system across a wide variety of areas. There's body cams and telephone cameras, and the civilian versus law enforcement reactions that happen there. There are surveillance cameras, which we'll be talking about, and the challenges there where you can, you have both the Boston Marathon situation where surveillance cameras dramatically accelerated our ability to identify the perpetrators, but you also have the Duke Lacrosse case where surveillance cameras that were 2 miles away from where a criminal act was alleged ended up proving the innocence of people who otherwise might have been convicted of crimes they haven't committed. And then we have the operational and administrative challenges of now having all of this video data that has to be stored, identifying which parts of it should be saved, which parts of it can be discarded, and the collateral consequences of people who have nothing to do with the event and are simply going around their daily business, walking through this video and being filmed, and what does that mean for their civil liberties and privacy rights. And all of this is wrapped up in the application of technology and criminal justice reform. And what's most important is that we decide as a group, collectively, how we're going to balance these competing interests so that the system, again, is working as designed and the administration of justice can be fair and accurate. To do that is not an easy task, but I think we've made it easier by assembling a truly all-star cast of speakers who will be with us for the next couple of days. We have an interdisciplinary blend of criminal justice professionals, legal scholars, and social scientists across a wide range of disciplines. We'll hear from representatives from the police, from judges, law and social science professors, entrepreneurs, and community activists to help make sure that we're getting a 360 view of these issues.